Scrap management. It seems like we end up with a ton of these really small scraps, more than any other size, and trying to get rid of these and use them up is just quite the challenge, isn't it? But I think I've come up with another way besides crumb quilts or adding machine tape type quilts. I think I've come up with another idea, and that's with my new pattern called postage stamp strips. And we all love a good postage stamp quilt. But this pattern eliminates cutting, pre-cutting. So let me show you and tell you more about it. So stay tuned. I'm Cheryl Harris of Heartfelt Quilt Design, and we'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back. And I just thought I'd tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm Cheryl Harris of Heartfelt Quilt Design, and you can find my pattern, the postage stamp strip, and this is the pattern that you'll get. It's an instant download, and you can find it at www.heartfeltquiltdesign.com. Now this pattern does include the 2-block strip, the 3-block strip, the 4-block strip, 5-block strip, and on up to 10 inches or the 10-block strip in this pattern. So you've got all sizes to make whatever design you want to make. So if you decide you want to put the strips in a rail like I did here, a rail quilt block, this quilt block is 6 inches through here, and it is just the yellow strip, the postage stamp strips, and then a white strip on each side is what I did on this to get this pattern. And I just used all the leftover pieces from a bigger stack than this of just these little cuts. That's all I did. And I bought the yellow and white fabric, and I actually have a separate download on my website where it gives you the fabric measurements for this quilt behind me, and it tells you how many blocks you need and what size of strips to cut and all that. So that's down there. It's a free download on my website to make these, but you still have to buy the pattern for the postage stamp strips. And once you have the pattern for the postage stamp strips, you'll be able to make whatever patterns you want. And this pattern does allow you to make products to sell if you want to do that, if you have an Etsy store or you want to sell items at your Quilt Guild's quilt show. So that's a good plus too. I do want to tell you, let's see, I think that's it. Let's get sewing. So give me a minute to readjust the camera and we'll start sewing, and I'll show you my method of foundation paper piecing, as it does cut down your time considerably. So we'll get started, all right? So give me just a minute. I'm back, and the first thing you want to do is take your stack of fabrics, like, you know, your little pieces like this, and you want to sort these out by color. And the reason for that is so that you can easily find the color that you want for arranging them in your strip. Now, you also want to look at having your color wheel close by so that you can look at what colors are kind of opposite each other on the color wheel, because that will also help your colors pop out a little more and be brighter. It'll add more contrast. So keep that in mind. Now with my quilt here, I tried to add orange or red in each strip. That didn't always happen, but that also helped the colors stay extra bright. So that's a clue too. And that'll help you. Let's see. So let's get busy here. I'll get you down here where I'm at with my sewing machine. And I've got some colors picked out together. And for sewing these together, I've got them all lined up, what I want to do. And so I'm just going to put them off to the side here. And I cut my pattern to where it's close to the edge. As you can see here, I've still got a little fabric left there around the edge. And I do that so I can see where the fabric, where my cutting line is actually going to be. I don't want to cut up to the line. I want to cut just close to it so I can easily see. That helps me with fine tuning and getting my piecing perfect, the perfect width and the perfect size for my strip. Now, when sewing these, I do not fold the paper. That takes up time, and I'm all about saving time and doing things faster. So I'm just going to take 2 pieces of fabric that I want together, and I'm going to put right sides together. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take my pattern and I'm going to line up so that the one is this way, because I want this pink fabric to be in the one position. So I want that here. I'm going to place this so that it's got a good 1/4 inch in past this line. Okay, see that? So I've got that fabric just past there. The edges are all matched up, but in order for me to get this piece in here, I want to make sure I get this corner too, and it's a little bit short. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to set my stitch length to a shorter stitch. All right, so we're just going to do that. And my shorter stitch, I do a 1.8 on my Bernina. So I'm just going to then sew this together. And I sew right on the line. So now my right sides are together. I get my little snips, cut my thread, and then we've got right sides together just like that. Now I'm going to press that over. I've got my ironing board set up over here. Sorry you don't get to see. But I'm just going to press my seam open. So there it is, nice and flat. I never use that little wallpaper roller or anything else to just finger press. I don't do that. You have to press the seam. You want it as flat as possible. So I always press my seams open right away. Want this one next. So I'm going to lay that one down. I'm going to make sure that it's, now this fabric's a little bit, I'm going to peel this back so I can see my line. I know is kind of over here. I've got about a 1/4 inch under. And I always want to make sure my fabric is always going towards the one. It's going this way. And this is the 1 block, because I've already done block 1. I've done block 2. I'm just getting ready to sew block 3 on. So I always want it to go opposite of the way that it's going to flip. So if you've never foundation paper piece, that's how you do it. And I just make, I can just fold this fabric back so I can see that I've got a good 1/4 inch seam allowance. See that? Right here and here. There's my line. So I'm now just going to put that back down, and I'm just going to slide that over to my machine and stitch it. And for now, I'm going to just trim my fabric in between. Trim this off so I don't have so much bulk. And I can just throw that away. And you're cutting with scissors. And I just keep a small pair of scissors right by my machine to do that. It's faster than lining up your ruler. You don't care about this being perfectly straight or a perfect 1/4 inch. Just as long as you have enough to hold it together, you're good to go. So I'm going to press. I mean, no one's going to see those seam allowances, but you and your long armor. And if you quilt your own quilt tops, it's not going to matter. So I'm going to put that one down, and I just want to go, we're going to do 4. So we're just going to put that down. Now I could go the other way, but I'm not going to get 2 out of there anyway, so it's not going to matter. So I'm going to go this way. So this is the line between 3 and 4. You can see right there, I'm making sure I have plenty of space there for my orange fabric. So I have a good 1/4 inch, place it down so I can tell from here to here, that line, I've got a good 1/4 inch right here and right here from this line. See that line right there? Right there? That's my sewing line. So I want a 1/4 inch on each side. So we're just going to take that over the machine and sew it. Now when I'm sewing these blocks, I find that I'll just spend a whole evening or a day just sewing strips. And then I can do, the next day I can sew blocks together. And that just helps me with giving me some variety in my quilting. And I'm just cutting that, as you can see. And that's my waist. And I can even use this leftover strip for like a leader and an ender if I want to, you know. I'll press that. Now my iron, I only use dry heat. I never use steam anymore. This one's got kind of a triangle. And I find that that's just enough to get it flat. The steam can kind of distort the paper, so I just use a dry iron. I also don't want to get iron on the ink. My printer is a laser printer, and that will melt the ink back onto your iron. So you've got to be careful with that as well if you're doing a laser printer. I have to decide where I want this. I think that's the best place right there. Yep. So this will be a lot of white in this one. And that's okay. When you're sewing white, you want to sew it in the middle of the postage stamp strip. If you sew it at the end, it's going to show up next to the white strip, and that's not going to give you the color. You'll see what I mean when I get this done. This looks close enough to a 1/4 inch. I might trim some of this orange off. See, I'm just trimming that off there. So now I'll press that down. And then I'll sew my last piece on. And again, we're going to get this right down there. Okay, I'm good there. You can see there that I've got little peaks of teal. And probably not with my shirt, but past the sew line right here. So we're just going to put that in there. My machine. Come on. Now, this outside border on the pattern is your seam allowance. This is the actual block here. So now I've got to trim here. There. And then I just press that down. Now, all I have to do is trim up my block with my rotary cutter and rulers. So, and then I'm just going to follow along this line to trim it up. So when we trim it up, it'll look just like this, cut right to the edge, and then you'll have a nice strip. So I'll do that real quick, and then we'll get to sewing the rest of the block. And all you've got to do is just add your strips on, and if you did your precision cutting, you'll be able to get those on real quick. So you just do that, Now sew this to this, this to this. Once this is cut, then you're going to sew this to this side. And it's that simple. So that's it. That's pretty much it. I mean, you get the basic idea of how to make this block, I'm sure. But that's it. Look at my website at Heartfelt Quilt Design. And be sure to check out my pattern. I'm sorry for the jiggly camera, but this is a one-gal operation. So I'm doing the best I can. There's just me. And but check out my website and look at purchasing this pattern. This pattern is not really a pattern. It's more of a tool that you could use in your quilting toolbox. It's just as important, I think, as your rotary cutter, your seam ripper. I mean, it's just a pattern you're going to be using, or a tool you're going to be using over and over again. So please check me out, and please hit the like button or the subscribe button so that you can see more videos from me. I will be producing more in this next coming year. So thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you. Bye.